Hey witches, Tiffany here on Bewitching.Bemused. Today I want to talk to you about negative self-talk and what are you accidentally casting? This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately because I have recently fallen back into some old bad habits of being really hard on myself. And what really got me to kind of catch myself was I put out that video on the channel update saying, you know, there's a lot going on. I'm very overwhelmed and I need to cut back on videos. And I was really apologetic. I was very worried how people would respond, if people would think I was like getting lazy and slacking off and not appreciative of my audience and this community that I've created and we've created together here. But the feedback that I got in the comments, in the likes on the video, in emails that I got were just so overwhelmingly positive and supportive. And I was just thinking, like, none of these people are upset by this. Why are you so upset at yourself? So it's just been something I've been thinking about a lot lately in both a mundane sense as well as a magical one, because I do feel that negative self-talk can affect magical practitioners a little harder than other people. I'll get to that. I'll explain in a moment. We all know negative self-talk is not healthy and that we should avoid it. And a lot of us go, yeah, I know. And then we go and do it anyway, either consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously rather, unconsciously, subconsciously. We do it. We just do it whether we notice it or not. And I think it's such an odd thing. I mean, I'm totally being a hypocrite here because I do it myself, but I think it's such an odd thing when I hear people talk poorly about themselves, either aloud or it's obvious, you know, what they're saying kind of implies that they are thinking negative things about themselves. So the way I view it is, if you had a friend or a significant other who was constantly putting you down, belittling you, demeaning you, telling you that you're stupid or you're weak or you're ugly, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're I don't know, whatever. Would you keep spending time with them? I mean, I would hope that you wouldn't. I wouldn't. When other people do it to us, especially on a regular basis, we recognize that as verbally abusive behavior, because there's a big difference between constructive criticism and belittling. And that other person does these things with the intention of tearing you down. I don't accept that treatment from other people. I have cut off friends, even within the past few years, I have cut off people who treated me that way. So why do I treat myself that way? Why do I talk to myself that way? If we acknowledge that it's verbal abuse when it's outside of us, it's still verbal abuse within us. So as we know, most people should be better to themselves. But I specifically want to bring this up in regards to us as witches, us as magical practitioners, because our words and our thoughts hold so much power. I still hold it to be true that it's very hard to cast a spell accidentally. If you're trying to learn something new and you tell yourself, I'm bad at this, you're not going to suddenly wake up the next day and be worse than you were the day before. But if you keep telling yourself that over and over and over again, you're not going to improve. Or if you do, it's very, very minimal, very small amounts. And this works on two levels, the magical and the mundane. So sticking with that same example of trying to improve upon a skill that you've been practicing, on a magical level, you are repeating this mantra of, I'm no good at this, I'll never be good at this, I suck, I should give up. And that is what that is. It becomes a mantra. Now, on a mundane level, you are repetitiously stripping away your own self-confidence. And when you do that, are you really going to devote as much time into something? And when you do devote time to it, are you really going to give it your all? Are you really going to invest the amount of energy it really requires? Or are you just going to kind of like you know. On the mundane level, you have to practice and you have to devote the time, you have to devote the energy. Now, you can have moments of frustration, but if it's just this constant, I'm no good, I'll never be good. Now, looking at that term, mantra, when we hear that term, we associate it with positive things because that's what a mantra is supposed to be. It's supposed to be positive. I am loved. I am loving. I am strong. I am capable. And mantras are usually deliberate, right? You look into the mirror and you say this mantra, you repeat this mantra, and you apply determination and intention to it in order to manifest it. But when we look at spell work, right, manifestation, there's intention and there's also the energy being applied to that intention. And sometimes all intention has to be is knowing that something is true. I am healthy during a spell for your health. I am healthy is your intention, and you have to know it to be true. It may not be true right now, but you're casting the spell to ensure that it's true later on. So I am healthy, right? So just, I know this is foundational stuff. I just really want to be clear here. So you have intention and you have the energy behind it, the energy that you're pushing into it. So if you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say, I am strong, and it is packed full of intention, right? But then several times throughout the day, you impulsively, instinctively tell yourself, I'm weak, I'm a coward, I'm pathetic. The intention isn't there, right? Like, you're not setting the intention to cast a spell to weaken yourself, of course, but that same level of conviction is. So there you have an unintentional intention, plus you have the emotional energy behind it. Why? Because you disappointed yourself a little. You let yourself down a little, and you know what? That's okay. It happens. It's okay to feel disappointed even in yourself at times. It's going to happen. It's just, this is why mindfulness practices and meditation are incredibly important, because even if you have thoughts that pop into your head saying, I'm disappointed in myself, it's okay. There's been times where I was halfway through my commute home from work and I was just on a runaway, this was years ago, I was just on a runaway train in my mind of just bashing myself, just completely insulting myself over and over and over again in all these different ways, just ripping myself apart before I even realized, oh, I've just spent the last 25 minutes carrying on with this thought pattern. So I know I harp on this a lot in a lot of my videos, but mindfulness practices and meditation help you confront those things much quicker. You catch on to what you're thinking. You know, you kind of realize, hey, why am I thinking about this? And it's also much easier. You do that faster, but it's also much easier to just let those thoughts go. Even if in that moment you're frustrated, you're upset, you can just, I'm just putting it out of my mind. So this is just a message I wanted to put out there as both a magical and a mental health PSA. Cut the crap, cut the negative self-talk. I know it's easier said than done, but just realize that, you know, how much better you deserve. I think sometimes a lot of us build up this habit of doing this and don't really stop and think just how bad for us it is. And not just on a level of accidental manifestation, but on a level of, like I said earlier, if it was coming from an outside source, it would be verbal abuse. So even though it's coming from an inside source, you're verbally abusing yourself. Take that grain of advice and do better, be better to yourself. And it's not easy, I would know, but you deserve better. I know I deserve better from myself. You deserve better too from yourself if you experience the same thing. So anyway, that's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this wasn't kind of my usual thing, but it was something that I felt was really important and that I really wanted to talk about. So there you have it. I think that's all. I'll see you all next week. And in the meantime, as always, stay magical.